Hey guys, my name is Shroomy, Mushroom Shrooms. I have a lot of different names, and I just really like lore. So, this week, or well, whenever this is coming out, we have a special guest on. If you guys remember, I've done interviews in the past with a couple other content creators and stuff, but no one to this scale. So, go ahead and introduce yourself, why don't you?
Hello, everybody. This is Kerem Erdinc, the voice of Emre Sarol in Overwatch. And I am here with the man of many names, Shroomy. Mushroomy, take your pick, whatever you call him.
That's beautiful. Yes, uh,
I've been working on that one.
yeah, I could tell. I mean, yeah. Well, I have a lot of questions here that I want to go over with you. Just kind of talking about the lore and kind of talking about how
Yeah.
yeah, you feel about the lore, because we've gotten to talk a little bit before this, and I've seen you around the community, and I know you're a bit of a lore head, but I really want to get into it and kind of ask and let everybody know how much of a lore head you are, because a lot of people in the community say, yeah, I know my lore, or yeah, I'm a fan of the lore, and then they kind of don't like really know the lore. So I think it'll just be kind of fun to kind of go over it and kind of get your perspective on things, since, well, nobody else really talks about it besides us here. So, yeah.
Right on.
Well, I think we'll just kind of start pretty easy with a question I've seen you seen you answer before. With when did you start playing Overwatch?
I started playing Overwatch at launch. I pre-ordered it, picked it up from GameStop like everybody else, and got my pre-order Widowmaker skin to prove it. It's just been a game that has always been a part of my pantheon of video games that I play through all my life. Mainly just hopping back and forth between that and Halo, whatever Halo was out at that time. That was my two games that I would play as my shooters of choice.
Man, like you say Halo, a little thing about me, I grew up on Halo. Just hearing you talk about Halo too, like everything with Emre, his kid is so Halo like, like there's so many little teases with it. So
Yeah, that I mean, it felt made for me, just tailor made for me. Because I mean, you can voice a character, but at the end of the day, you don't know what that kit's gonna be, if it's gonna be a support, tank, or DPS. There was really no way for me to know or tell if I would gravitate towards playing as Emre, and then that kit comes out, and I'm like, oh, I've been playing with him for years. It's exactly what I've been doing, just BRs on whatever
literally,
map it
yeah.
was. So it was just a match made in heaven on multiple fronts. Never mind the character, but just from a gameplay perspective as well, it was a treat. And I'm already at level 76 with him, I think, right now
Oh my gosh, yeah.
in the game.
I yeah, my highest character is Bastion at like I think 85, I think. So the Halo references and stuff, you could even see with the April Fools patch that they did. They really leaned into it there. Um I thought everything they did there was so fun, like the thing where like when you melee someone in the back, it does like more damage, or like
Mhm.
he kind of jumps even higher, and he has like the shields, kind of like the Spartan jump and like everything with that. So
His alt is the spanker now, just the
yeah.
two rocket shots. I love
Yeah,
that.
that was great. When I saw it was the two rocket shots, like neurons fired in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I know this. Like I had to dig for a bit, but yeah, Emery has been such a treat to kind of just get to play and finally get to see. And we're definitely going to talk more about his character in a bit. But yeah. So I guess we can just move on to question number two then, which is, when did you get into the lore of Overwatch? And is there any story moment or hero in particular that you remember that really got you going on it?
Yes. I started being excited by the lore from the very beginning because of the cinematics that they would drop before the game and as the game released too. The one that captured my attention and imagination was dragons. I
Mm,
saw that was the first thing of Overwatch I ever got to see that really just got me into it. And just the performances, the looks of the characters, when they pulled out their dragons and just the technological aspects behind everything. And at the time, I didn't even know it was fully technology. Those dragons, I thought there was some mysticism to it, where there's all these different things in the world, all these different kinds of characters from all around the world. I thought, oh, this is really cool and different. And they're going to keep adding more heroes. That's what got me into it. And then I got slowly into the factions as well, where I'm like, oh, there's Omnix and the Anubis AI system, and as they started unfolding all these things, Talon, Overwatch itself, old Overwatch, the new members of Overwatch, where everyone is gone, the collapse of Overwatch, all these different little pieces just captured my imagination and thought, oh, this is really cool. And how the missions tie, or I mean, not the missions, but the game modes sort of
Yeah.
tie to the actual things that are going on and what they mean. And I'm trying to decipher, well, what is this? What is pushing the payload for? What is it in this map setting? Why is it here? What is happening in Antarctica and Oasis, Rialto, Route 66? What are the significance of all these different places? And I just started reading on all the dossiers, and that brings me to where I found my obsession with Emre Sarol, my hyperfixation, was Operation White Dome, and reading that and realizing, oh my God, there's a Turkish Overwatch character, and he's not just some side goof. He was on the strike team. Are you kidding me?
100% agree with you. For me, I've been a fan, just like you said, like with the animated shorts, but I started with the beta, and just from the get go, the universe that they set up was so interesting, and it was something I wanted to see explored in any way I could. Especially like Omnix as an example. In media, I really like that kind of stuff. I like the idea of like robots and what does it mean to be alive, and of course, all that kind of stuff kind of comes to a peak with King's Row and everything going on in the Alive cinematic, you know, with Mondada. And for me, I think that was probably the moment where I was like, I kind of want to get into this lore because this world really does seem like it has almost limitless potential in terms of like stories and places and characters. So yeah, and you mentioned payloads and everything. I have to mention King's Row for obvious reasons, and the story there. Yeah, um,
Overwatch crossed the line there.
yeah. When I heard that in game, I'll tell you right now, I was with a couple friends because when voice lines come out, we tend to get in a call and talk while we find them. And when I heard that, I was just like I sighed and I was like, yeah, yeah, they did in a lot of different ways. He's not wrong.
I mean, I love the lines where we do goofs and gaffs on the other characters, like the interactions, but the ones where you do the lore drops, where you're talking about things that happened there, and I'm hoping one day where as more events happen in real time in the universe, where like let's say there's an event a year from now, then our characters comment on that event and what happened and things like that. That's what I'm excited for too. We're in
Oh
real
yeah.
time. We're just pushing the lore forward through those
Hmm.
interaction lines. Those are some of my favorites too, even though it's so fun just to riff on each other and flirt around or make fun of the other
Yeah.
characters.
No, for sure. Like, I think that's a big reason why Ramatra's lines in particular usually hit the hardest for a lot of people. Um,
Oh yeah.
his lines, it's a 50-50 chance where he will say the most nuanced, important lore thing you will ever hear, or he's going to sigh really loudly at Venture for asthma. Like, it's one of the two. And like those moments where you get those really heavy lore drops are also my favorites for a lot of reasons, but like the one that comes to mind immediately because of Emre is like when Sojourn like 2 years ago or whatever on Havana just randomly added that line where she goes, funny, Emery always wanted to retire here. And I remember the Emery main subreddit was like, guys, they mentioned Emery, and I was like, you don't think they're gonna do Emery in like a year? I was like, no, no, there's no way. And then, you know.
That was me. I was that person on the subreddit and in YouTube comments. I'm like, 2017, guys, it's our year. Come on, baby. And then it never happened.
Oh man. But yeah, and then I remember when Freya got her line too on Havana where she goes, funny, Emery always used to retire here. By then I was like, okay, wait a minute. Something's going on here. Something isn't adding up. So
No, it's interesting. Like I heard a little bit about the process with these. I want to call them legacy heroes, where they're in the lore as well, too. Where Emre, in his case, they wanted to find the right story for him because there. I mean, there's clearly a twist on his story and what he was versus what he is now.
Hmm.
They were always looking for that right fit. And what they do is they pitch those stories and like maybe we can do something like this with them. Maybe we can do this with his kit and that sort of thing. How we can bridge the two together between story and kit and what that looks like. And that takes time. So even if they want to do a character and it's actively in their minds to do that character, they wait till just the right moment as well as when the two halves of the character make sense and are right for the team. So I mean, they went into that process a little bit with me, and I thought, oh, that's so interesting that Emra has been floated around as this idea for years at Blizzard, but only now did they feel like, okay, this is the right time, right moment. We have the right story and the right kit for him, which is really cool. How they approach things like that and not just sort of go, okay, it's Emra time and just push it out across the finish line. They really take their
Oh
time and
yeah.
fine tune everything.
Yeah, and I know we'll talk about like we'll probably get into like other like lore characters and stuff that are kind of like that later, but there is a character on this channel that while you were saying that he's like a ghost in the back of my head as you're saying waiting for the right moment. And but anyways, I do agree. I think now was probably the best time they could have done Emery. Everything that was set up with Freya and her whole story, and then everything that led to, well, Emery being playable now, and the twist of the eye and the kind of the cyborgness that happened to Emery, and the kind of allure of what's going on with him was something that I know no one really expected. Um, with the eye and the conspiracy kind of plot line and stuff, that's a thing that a lot of people kind of jokingly bring up, like, oh, what if they did this and they tied spins the wheel Emery to it, and people go, oh, that would be funny, and then we move on with our day. And seeing it in actual like gameplay, like I don't think there's been a moment that I've been in this community where, like, on the lore side, we all were just like, oh my gosh, the eye stocks, they're so high. This is an
Oh
actual
yeah.
thing. It was so cool to see.
And especially since the eye and the symbolism of an eye in Turkish culture, it's almost a cruel joke on
Mm,
him because that eye is the source of all of his misery, stress, um, all around broodingness of the character, that eye. Yet there is a very famous eye in Turkish culture called Mazar, which is
mm,
like it's a blue eye, opposite colors actually, kind of. Well, actually, not quite opposite. I think that would be in the color spectrum green
mm.
for orange, but and it's reddish orange, but
Yeah.
like it's a blue eye, and it's designed to shield you from negative looks and bad vibes sent your way. Where if something good happens to you, for example, and you share it with people, that jealousy or negative feelings that somebody may have where they think you don't deserve that or they should be put down, that negative energy, that's what that eye is designed to protect you from. So having an eye be the source of his misery is sort of this cruel irony
Yeah.
to the design of that piece in particular, which
Mm.
I really enjoyed. It tickled me.
Yeah, it's such good symbolism, like, and that's one thing I think they always do really really well, especially with the lore heroes that they really get to dig into. Like, they always do an amazing job at kind of making these parallels and connections to things and factions and and different people and different religions and cultures that a lot of people don't know or don't really see on first glance. But when you get to take that deeper look, it really just adds so much more to the character. And the eye, like you said, is a perfect example of that. Um, and you can see that in most Overwatch characters nowadays, which I think is just really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we can I we've already started talking about Emery, obviously, but we can kind of just get digging into it a little bit more here with the next question I have. So, Emery, what got you into the character, and what was the process like to finally be casted?
Okay. What really got me into the character, I had a obsession with him since he was uh, shown in Operation White Dome. I thought he looked cool when
Mm.
he showed up in Anna's picture in 2016, but I had no idea he was a Turkish character at that point. I just thought, oh, cool guy with a mohawk and a compression tee. I wonder what his deal is. And I moved on. 2 years later, I find out who that really was, and I'm like, whoa, he's Turkish. That's so cool. There aren't Turkish characters in anything, especially back then. So I thought maybe one day he would be a hero, and I'd be very excited to just play him as a fan. At that time, I was just getting into voice acting as well, and it became sort of this pie in the sky dream. I worked actually at the time right near Blizzard, across the street from Blizzard, the campus
Mm.
in Irvine. And I would just drive by every day, and my dream I would put in my head for myself as like my pie in the sky voice actor dream. One of them was I'm gonna walk through Blizzard's gates one day and audition for Emre Saroglu when he's put in the game. Hand on my heart, that
That's
was
so
a
cool.
dream. And it was just sort of this North Star I would follow in everything that I did relating to voice acting and building up to the dream of becoming a voice actor. And fast forward, I want to say 19, 20, 6 years, like 8 years total for
Yeah.
that journey of Emre. And I just get the audition in my inbox one day out of nowhere. And I knew what it was because they had the name Emre there, and I knew the code name for Overwatch as well. So I knew it
Mm.
was Overwatch and Emre. And then they went into details of what has gone on with him relating to the cyborginess of him and what befell him over his 10-year disappearance. And I thought, wow, this is a really unique and interesting way to go about the character. So I got extremely nervous immediately. So I'm like, this is the dream. This is the shot. I have to give it my all. And of course, in typical lore nerd fashion, I overthought it because I
Yeah.
was like, how old is Emre now? He was on the original strike team. He obviously needs to be Soldier 76's age and be old. So I did that.
Oh.
I recorded the audition, Soldier 76 age, but then I thought, but what if they play it fast and loose with the timeline and he isn't Soldier 76's age and he's a little younger? Because he was, he was a dashing guy, so maybe they
Yeah.
won't turn him into an old fogey. Maybe they'll make him like a Silver Vox sort of thing, or even like put him in his 40s. So the gameplay lines I did as what we've come to know Emre to be in the game, where he's in his 40s. He has the voice down here, but when I did the original, the first half of the audition was Another Life, um, where he
Mm.
meets with Freya,
Yeah.
and I did a even deeper, older voice where I was like, "Leaving Overwatch behind was the hardest thing I've ever done, Freya." And that was the voice. And then the other ones, like for the gameplay lines, I'm like, "Pushing the payload or put it all on the line." That's where we've come to know.
Mm.
So I just sort of hedged my bets that way and put in even a Turkish line at the end just so they knew I spoke Turkish. They had no Turkish lines at all in the audition.
Mm.
But I'm like, let me throw this in. And I said in English and Turkish, I am 100% Turkish made, like the Reinhardt line, where 100% German power.
Yeah.
So I just threw that ad lib line in there in English and Turkish and sent it off. And I called my agent and I said, Dean, I'm really excited by this audition. He's like, oh, yeah, sure, cool. That's great. And I said, because I'm Turkish and I put a Turkish line in there so they know that I'm Turkish. So we have a really good shot at this. And he goes, wait a minute. You're Turkish. And it just occurred to him because I don't get many Turkish auditions. And it rarely comes up in our day to day working together. beyond just him meeting me and knowing that I was Turkish. And I reminded him, and he's like, "I'm calling Andrea right now." He slams the phone on me and calls Andrea Blizzard, lets him know, and pitches me saying like, "Hey, this guy, he loves Overwatch. He knows his stuff. He's Turkish. He loves the character. Give him a shot." And then he said, "Well, I pitched you. Best of luck." So then I throw it out there and I forget about it. And I then go to Turkey for a month for two weddings and just left and tried to forget about it, even though I was just thinking about it every single day. When are they going to call me back? When are they going to have me do another read for it, maybe, or a callback? Please call me. And I'm just enjoying my time in Turkey. And about 3 weeks in, I get the confirmation of they want to have a callback with you in Los Angeles. And I'm like, okay. So when is that going to be? And they said October 3rd. Fantastic. I'm back on the 29th. So I get superstitious a little bit with it. I'm by no means a religious person, but I am a spiritual person. So I went to this Greek church called Ios Dimitrios in the middle of Turkey, in Istanbul. And I go light candles there, making wishes for people that I care about, as well as myself, and just wishing for Emre, lighting this candle. And this is all going to like a big spiritual journey I have with the
Mm.
character, which is why I'm getting into all this,
Yep.
and the audition process. So then I go visit my grandma at the cemetery to make a wish as well to her and just let her know about this Turkish character because I know it would have tickled her that I got this Turkish character in a video game and it would really
Mm.
excite her. So I wanted to talk to her about it. And I get out of the car when I park at the cemetery and my eyes just fixate on this tombstone. And I don't know the cemetery very well because I only visit once a year at most Turkey, but I see this headstone and what it says on it, the first thing I see when I get out of the car, it says the family of Emre in Turkish
Yeah.
on it. As if like they're welcoming me, like you're a part of the Emre family. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a sign.
Mm.
And then I go to my grandma's grave and make the wish. And then a stray cat comes up to me, which is exactly the same as my grandma's cat,
Mm.
and just rubs against my leg. And it normally, street cats will not come up to you in Turkey unless you have food. I had no food, and it just like comes on my lap, and I have pictures and everything of this cat jumping on my lap and like butting her head against my leg. And uh, I thought, okay, my grandma's sending a spirit guardian to me. I've got this in the bag now. So then, with this newfound vigor and confidence, I go to the US again, and we go to the session where the audition is. And they send, normally in callbacks, you get a maximum. I mean, like, usually a maximum of 3 lines
Mm.
or 3 pages total. It's very rare that you get for a callback more than that. I had 6 pages of lines for this callback,
Oh man.
and they range from everything to lore stuff, to lore drops, to regular gameplay stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, this is odd." So, I get in, and Miranda Moyer is in the session, who is one of the lead narrative designers, the one who worked primarily on Emre, and we just start going through the script, and I ask a couple questions and they ask, "Oh, are you into Overwatch?" I'm like,
Well, let me tell you, actually, I know the lore inside and out. I was obsessed with Emrys' Operation White Dome, for your information.
and they're like, "Oh, you're that guy." I said, "Yeah, I'm that guy." And we just go into it and I had such fun with the Another Life stuff. That was my favorite stuff to record in that because that's where you get really to like the sad Turkish man meat and potatoes,
Mm.
and getting to really explore that and sort of show the layers to him. And my strategy with him was I wanted him to be this multifaceted character where he's different things at different times. Sometimes he's funny, sometimes he's sexy, sometimes he's morose, sometimes he's miserable, sometimes he's the big brother you need who's has his hand on your shoulder, sometimes he's weeping in the corner. I wanted to do all these different things with him and inject them into the character, and that resonated with them, I guess. We went through the entire 6 pages, which is also very unusual. Normally, you don't get through the whole thing and they say, "Well, thank you for your time." But we just sort of hung out there for an hour and a half going through every single piece and even getting to the Melvin lines too, the unknown force as
Mm.
well, and creating the voice for that too, where I really do pitch my voice down and make it sound robotic, even though they put the packet on my voice, where I really do go like it's when I do the thing in there.
Mm.
But uh, we just had a blast, and they said thank you, and I left and went to my agent after that, told him how it went, and I said, "So what do you think?" And he just gives me this look, and he turns around to his liquor cabinet and pulls out this really nice whiskey, and he's like, "I think we can celebrate." And he pours me a drink in his little 2 Turkish teacups that I got him actually from Turkey. I brought him a gift there, and we just made a toast and did that. And then a week later, I was cast, and the rest was history as of September or October 2025.
That is so like your entire story there is so cool to actually get to hear, because it like the entire process to me is something that you really don't get to hear a lot about, right? You get to hear bits and pieces, but seeing like how it started with you, and how you kind of overanalyzed like everything with Emery when you originally got that casting. I'll tell you right now, when we saw Emery, we all guessed on his age as well. Like we were like, well, he should be about as old as Soldier 76, but well, maybe they're gonna age him down a little bit. How old is Freya again? And we were like, because they seem pretty close. So like, we it's part of the job with the lore stuff. So
Oh, I know. There were some people that were like, "No, he needed to be in his 60s. They got it wrong."
yeah, that entire early time with Emery was, it was truly like, I like, and I'll just say this too. I remember when they showed off Emery in Freya's hero trailer, like almost a year and a half ago now, or however long ago that was. I was in a call with my 2 buddies, and at this point, all of us, we were just kind of watching. We were like, "Oh, Freya seems cool." Like we were like, "Okay, new hero." And as we go through it, we're like, oh, Maximilian, it's always cool to see Max. And then he hands her that data pad, and when he handed her that data pad and we saw the image on there, all three of us were like, all three of us went, Emery. like we're doing Emery. And it's just been such a wild, fun, speculative ride to go down for the last like year, 2 years almost, to get to where we are now.
Oh no, my favorite pastime was lurking in yours and Deemsy's videos, just watching your reactions to everything. Oh my god, that was the best part, where everybody's just like trying to predict, like, what is this? What is he? Is he bad? Is he good? Who knows? And I was impressed by how close so many people got to being on the money with it, especially with
Hmm.
some of the predictions too, because they really didn't have a lot of information before the comic, especially, and there were a lot of people that were getting quite close in what was going on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like one thing that I've noticed, especially like as we've been getting more and more hero stuff and more lore, is a lot of fans kind of get really close to what we get. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I think it's really cool that that does happen, because it lets speculation run wild, but then also speculation gets proven right at some points. And I think that's a really important thing to have. Like for example, with everything with Emery, I saw people going like, "Oh, is he a part of Talon? Uh, what is Max went with him?" Like, and people would get really close, like you said, looking back on it, and that kind of stuff is probably the most fun that I have with this all is kind of just that speculation. And then if you get proven right and you get that right on the money, you just look around the room and you're like, well, guys, who's the fool now? like, like
Yeah.
not me. So, but yeah, it's just been such a cool story so far with Emery. And I guess with that in mind, I know we talked about that one for a while, but we can go into the next question, which is kind of something you talked about already, but it's the idea of how does it feel to record and do voice work for a character constantly at war with himself like Emery?
Well, I'll get into one aspect of it that I haven't covered, which is that pain and torment that he puts himself through, both figuratively and literally, through the unknown force that's controlling him as well. I really wanted to capture that, especially in the lore pieces, how tortured and exhausted he is through what he's been through. Because it's almost worse than, because a lot of people compare it to Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's a very easy comparison to make, but I think what he's gone through is way worse because he's aware.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier went under and came back out after he was deprogrammed after Winter Soldier, especially in the MCU iteration of the character. He just sort of was a ghost and didn't really have to weigh the consequences of his actions. Every death, every stolen artifact, every base destroyed, Emre got to know what he did. Even though his memories have been fuzzy, especially stuff detailing what transpired with him, how he fell into the situation, he still understood that he was doing these horrible things. And I really wanted to capture the what kind of PTSD somebody would have going through that. So for Another Life, especially, I watched a lot of interviews of veterans of the Vietnam War recalling their experiences. I wanted to especially look at soldiers that lost, technically, quote unquote, their
Yeah.
wars, and what that does to somebody when you feel like you haven't triumphed, that you've fallen on very hard times and you're just living with these nightmares constantly. And it was a tough watch, I will say. But what I tried to do, and of course, Overwatch isn't a very dour game, but I wanted to capture things like Emre's emotions shifting mid conversation, where he is speaking at one cadence and one tone, but then anger comes out, or sadness comes out, or confusion comes out. And they just sort of burst out of him from the seams because he's sort of unpacking this emotion or these emotions for the first time in 10 years with the person that he arguably feels the closest to. For the first time, he's talking to someone. I imagined in my mind, he hasn't spoken to anyone for real in 10 years beyond just giving potential orders to Mauga or Sombra or whoever he's working with on a mission. He hasn't really talked to anyone as Emre Sarıoğlu in 10 years. So what would that be like for someone? They wouldn't be put together. They would be a mess. And I wanted to capture that, especially with
Mm.
him in his at war with himself moments, especially in gameplay too. Like when he comes out of his ult, too. Those I wanted to make them as heartbreaking as possible when you're activating, because you have this triumphant multi kill where you get a team kill as Emre, and then the second after you do that, what's even left of me? I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's it is like you put it so well there, obviously, and I think you do handle that really well. Like everything you've said, the exact kind of character that you described is exactly what I thought of when seeing Emery. Um, I do think that it's really interesting to kind of be able to view him from the perspective of having Freya to kind of like be that character to open up to, since he hasn't had anyone in a long time. And I do hope eventually we'll get to see how canonically the other like ex Overwatch agents down the road get to feel about him and see him in the present day. Like we have interactions in game now, like with Reaper that came out this season, where he kind of looks at Emre and he's like, "What the hell happened to you?" He's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is really fun, and it gives an idea of it. But I do want to see like how a character like Sojourn would react to him, like seeing him on the battlefield, when Overwatch has to clash with Talon. And those kinds of character moments are probably something we'll get to see more of in the future, but that's kind of my favorite part of Freya and Emery's dynamic is Freya is the first character he's been able to really like be open with in a long time, like you said. And I think they just bounce off each other really well to be able to do that. So
Oh yeah. I mean, Olivia Lee Anderson, who plays Freya, has incredible instincts, and we've never worked together directly before, where we're in the same booth at the same time, but we've done enough work together where I feel we understand what the other person is going to do. So we've both recorded sometimes where I record first, and then sometimes where she records first. And every time we've done it, no matter which order, we both listen. Oh, I listen in at least to what she does and how it syncs so well. You would never think that we recorded separately. It's as if we recorded together, but we just understand each other's instincts so well now at this point, even um, as short of a time we've been on the game together. We've worked together so much because there's so much content between those two characters that I feel right at home when I'm recording with her.
that's that is so cool. Like I know I've probably said that is so cool like a million times, but it is really interesting to be able to hear like how this kind of process goes about and how you bounce off the other like voice actors and other like people you have to just work with generally in this kind of stuff. And I think that it kind of goes into something that I'm going to talk about a little later with kind of just interactions in general. So I won't go too deep into it now. But yeah, I just think it's like the whole process is really interesting to hear. So going on to the next question, I feel like a lot of these that we're talking about, you've kind of already gone into a little bit, but I think it's good to just kind of reiterate it anyways as we go down the list. So
Well, they're good North Stars because we sort of just open in on them and then we expand on them as we
yeah, that's a good
go into the
point.
direct questions.
That is a good point. And yeah, so I guess with number 5 here, which is my fifth question, going in, what type of character did you expect Emery to be, and how did that change after?
Well, I I have two minds about it.
Mm,
When I was a fan, just thinking of the character being in the game someday, I thought he would be, based on his White Dome interactions, very sturdy, steadfast, by the book, and very just professional. Like he's a Turkish soldier, they're very disciplined and just cuts through the BS. That's how I received him. And he was sort of like that when he was in Overwatch originally. But when I wanted to take on the character and sort of put my own spin on him, I wanted to make that a part of him, but that he's very complicated, that he has all these different layers. Like he can be going, "What's even left of me?" at one point, and then at another point, he's like, "Alev, Alevim," like where he's just like on fire and like very confident and swashbuckly like a Errol Flynn, pirate. I wanted him to be all these things, almost like I've heard Grant Morrison compare Batman that way, where he's just this insane, unique human with all these different sides to him, where he sees every single era of Batman as canon, where like Adam West is canon and Dark Knight Returns is canon, where they're two completely diametrically opposed versions of the character. But in his mind, Grant Morrison, famous comic book writer, rationalizes them all as a tapestry of history of this insane, unique human. And that's sort of my analysis of Emre too, where he's all these different things, and he may be more things as time goes on as well. And I could add layers to the character too as we go forward in the timeline.
No, for sure. And I think just with all of that in mind too, like I think the way you put it there is the best way I could have said it too. Like everything with Emery, he's so varied in how he reacts to situations and is able to kind of, like you said, be on fire one moment, like having this kind of swashbuckler persona, and then the next moment after killing the entire enemy team, he's just having a mental breakdown about what he just did. it's it's so cool, and it is something that we kind of have gotten with Overwatch heroes before, but not to this extent. We've had a couple characters who kind of like have one side to them, and then when they're in the heat of the moment kind of switch. But with Emery, we kind of have two different characters almost like in control, and being able to balance both those sides out and have Emery's version of it, then this mysterious voice and whatever this is, and its perspective on it, and then going back to Emery and reacting how to, or just reacting to how that scene went, is such a cool like dynamic for those two to have. I think it's just a really neat way to kind of get a really good gauge of Emery's character in particular as well, because you get that little bit of meat to kind of be like, oh, so this is how he would react to seeing the entire enemy team die.
No, it's really exciting to explore both independently, and I haven't done it yet. I'm hoping that eventually we can also explore what it's like having them both sides of the characters interact together
Mm,
too, because we've never had a moment where they're directly engaging with each other. These two sides of Emre, they're always independent of each other because one takes over versus the other. Um, we've gotten a tidbit of that in Sierra's trailer where they're sort of battling with each other, and then there's this sort of moment where when Emre grabs the briefcase and gets onto the chopper, it feels like it's a mix of them almost. And it's sort of like both sides warring with each other at once and sort of melding in a unique way.
yeah, I was gonna bring that up actually. Like especially at the end of the trailer there, like the way that Emery's kind of cold towards Freya, it's very much not like him. And seeing say like how you say it's a blend is like I think the perfect like way to put it. Like it almost feels like those two characters are in perfect harmony, if only for like a minute there. Whereas Emery's trying to like understand what exactly he just did, and the voice and the mysterious presence in him is kind of like letting him back in for a moment. So like they're kind of in sync.
And I will say, I mean, this is going to be a tangent to, uh, as everything I say is.
Oh, you're fine.
Um, the Sierra trailer, all the power scalers that have given their takes on that are all wrong on both sides.
Ugh.
I'm going to make this a podcast exclusive or a video exclusive. I will give the correct take on that fight.
Oh my
Okay?
gosh.
It's it is the correct take. This is a Shroomy exclusive, a Mushroomy exclusive,
This is
okay?
crazy. Oh my gosh.
All right. We have two combatants until Freya shows up. Sierra and Emre, okay? Sierra comes in, sees an intruder, and wants to eradicate this intruder. Emre doesn't even take out his rifle. You never see his rifle through that whole entire trailer. Okay?
Yeah.
So already, he is not trying to kill Sierra or murk Sierra. He is trying to escape with his objective. So he brings out his siphon pistol, fires two shots, misses both to ward her away. But Sierra is a very capable character, and Emre is trying to escape without trying to best Sierra, whether it be to incapacitate her or murk her. He's not going to win that fight. She's fully trying to annihilate him. She even
Mm.
does at the end of that. But One is trying an entirely different objective. So it's not really fair to power scale them as if they're both going head to head with each other. So then Emre goes down after she does the targeting thing. Emre then loses control and the unknown force kicks in. So then that moment happens where he's about to unleash his ult on her. So then Freya has to step in to save her life because he knows, or she knows, that Emre will kill her if that continues. Because the force in the game versus the force in canon in the lore, I think are extremely different power scales. To me, Emre under the control of the unknown force can only be stopped by Sigma. That's my take right now.
Oh,
In
well,
terms of like power.
yeah,
Uh to me, Sigma has always been like the wild card Phoenix Force level threat, Omega level mutant sort
yeah,
of power in Overwatch. The unknown force Emre is a close second, I think, but we haven't seen the full capabilities of it.
yeah.
So I'm still holding out judgment there,
Mhm,
but it is an extremely powerful force, and Sierra doesn't know what that thing is anyway.
mhm.
So she wasn't threatened by it beyond just ready for a fight, but that's beyond, I think, that skill set. So then Freya ties up Sierra, makes sure that the unknown force understands a threat has been neutralized so that it can deactivate.
Yeah.
And then the short plays out as it does.
Mhm.
But everyone's trying to say Emra's stronger, Sierra's stronger. That wasn't a fight to determine that because neither combatant had the same objective. When you are in power scaling, if it's like a
Mhm.
death battle sort of thing where both combatants are trying to kill each other or knock out each other, then you can do that. But when two entirely different objectives are going on, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So there you are, internet. The correct take of the Sierra versus Emre fight. You're welcome.
I know everyone who watches my stuff will greatly appreciate it. I power scaling, especially in Overwatch, is something that is really hard to tell. I mean, you can look at
It's a
Doomfist.
fool's errand at times.
Oh yeah, yeah, like Doomfist as an example is one I've tried to scale so many times, but it is so hard because sometimes they're like he can level a skyscraper, and then other times he loses to Arisa and Lucio in a book. And then
Yeah,
I'm
people rarely bring that one up, you know?
yeah, that's the one. And that's why I always say Arissa's really high on the power scale too, because Arissa can just 1v1,000 a null sector army and not really bat an eye from like Heroes Ascendant, and then people are like out here going like, yeah, I don't think she's that strong, and I'm like, she helped push a building off the road in the book. like she's pretty
Oh yeah.
crazy. So yeah, but going into the next question, we're going to get into more of the lore, which we've kind of already been talking about the lore this whole time, but I really want to get into the nitty gritty of asking just if you've read any of the expanded material, like Overwatch Declassified, Heroes Ascendant, the comics, London Calling, cough, cough, cough. And which of these is your
Yeah.
favorites and why? And yeah.
You know what? Let me actually get it from my bookshelf, my
There
favorite.
you go. Yeah.
Because I raided the Blizzard vaults for comics. I even got the cookbook, guys.
Oh my
Once
gosh.
I got two of them here for you. But
Oh.
so I got New Empire from the Blizzard vaults. They actually printed this one. And they rarely give it out though, which I find interesting because I think this was for a special event that they printed them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They didn't print Search and Destroy, unfortunately, which would have been my favorite if they printed it. They didn't.
uh,
But I would say my favorite is actually going to be. I'm not sure if people will agree with me or not, but I really like Overwatch New Blood.
Yeah.
I really like this book, and it just goes into a lot of different characters, beautiful art. Especially really like the stuff with Zarya in here. That's really cool. Diva stuff is really fun. It's just a good collection of characters because a lot of the time you get stuff that's like focused on a few, but New Blood really expanded on a lot of the characters that I argue don't get spotlight as much, like Baptiste. You
Yeah.
know, he deserves more love, and this book delivered on it.
Oh, for sure. Like I remember when that one was coming out, like it was really cool to see kind of these like new characters, get introduced to Overwatch as a faction. It came out at a time when the only other comic run before this was of course London Calling. So it was kind of a weird like time, to be into the lore cuz London Calling had its own problems and its own kind of reactions from the community. So people really didn't know how to expect or what to even really know with this one going in. But I do think New Blood is actually like looked upon really, really nicely, like going back.
Mhm.
It's definitely one of the more, I would say, popular, especially for the stuff with like Baptiste and Zarya, like you said, spotlighting all these characters.
And these are characters that I don't really have that personal of a connection to. Like I don't play most of these characters. I think I only play Cassidy in the game, but I just really liked how they gave me a new appreciation for especially these four
Mm.
on the cover, Farah, Baptiste, Zarya, and Diva. So it gave me a pleasant surprise where I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, which is why I really have a deep love for it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think of those stories, I think Farah's my favorite in there, but Baptiste is a close second because when New Blood was a thing, I don't think anybody really expected Baptiste to be here, because
Mhm.
even in the comic, he kind of just shoves himself in, and he's like, "I'm trying to join Overwatch. I gotta find Cassidy," and then they go from there. And I think Overwatch is at its best when they do focus on these kind of singular character things. Like, of course, with Emery's comic that came out last year with Freya and all that, I think that's another really good example of being able to focus on one to two characters and really being able to flesh them out and letting people just kind of connect with them. And I'm really happy that they do that more with new heroes, like giving each hero a comic or trying to at least. Um, like, for example, with Sierra's comic, I think that kind of stuff is just really great to see and gives a lot of lore thoughts and speculation, but also gives a really good idea of the character. So
For sure.
we'll definitely come back to just comics and all that later on with I keep hyping it up, but the the shadow over everything. He's like a boogeyman for this.
Mm.
But I guess we'll just move on to question 7 that I have, which is how do you feel about Emery's current role in the story?
I really enjoy it just as a performer, getting to sort of be in this situation with him where all these characters might start reacting to him in the story going forward. Since now, I would think the secret might be out about Emre being in Talon based on what happened in Sierra's trailer. Because, I mean, I imagine there might be security cameras at the Helix space.
Yeah.
I don't know. Uh, so he's been off the grid for so long, and now I feel like we're sort of, I have no idea, but just maybe drumming our way to getting him injected into the spotlight where now people outside of Talon will be exposed to him and their reactions to him will be interesting for sure. As a performer, just getting to play a character that is on the side he doesn't want to be on
Hmm.
is really fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I could imagine like if things go right with Vendetta's plans going forward, Emre would be like, "Ah, dang it!" But when they go wrong, he'd be like, "Take that," having fun with it a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that I think that's one of my favorite things about especially Vendetta's new like kind of Talon is with the old Talon, you can kind of see like with Doomfist and everything, there's definitely a bigger shift there in like how he rules compared to Vendetta, where Doomfist kind of chose who he wanted near him so he could like have a pretty decent control on them, but also had a really good gauge of everything in their arsenal, I would say. Whereas Vendetta kind of sees only strength in some ways. And Emery is a great example of that, where she sees this because Max brought him in with such high regard, and she sees it with Sigma as well, where Sigma she sees in such a powerful way, but doesn't really do the same things that, Doomfist would do, like especially in Sigma's case, where Sigma's like a weapon now. He's not even allowed to be a scientist, which is
Oh
so
yeah.
interesting for a ton of reasons, but
I I find it interesting with those two characters, especially seeing how they conduct themselves as leaders.
mhm.
Like you're saying, because to me, Doomfist is a character that tries to get other characters to join him through force of will, but also at the same time getting them to see things his way, where he tries to sort of get in their heads a little bit more, versus Vendetta is more the wholesale approach, where she just assembles and leads through plans and results and impact, where when interests align, the people crowd around her, and
Mhm.
that's what she's trying to build around herself, outside of herself. Versus Doomfist, I feel, is a little bit more personal with his
Oh yeah.
teams.
Yeah. Like, and you can see that especially with Maximilian, everything with him, like in Maximilian's short story, we get to see the moment like Doomfist kind of works with him, and there is a lot that you can mirror with how Vendetta and Maximilian kind of work together, but at its core, Vendetta doesn't respect Max. She sees him as like almost like beneath her and like a tool in some ways, like I'm only keeping you here because you can bring stuff to the table. Whereas Doomfist is like, you're cunning, you're not strong, but you're extremely cunning, and I respect that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's such a cool just kind of dynamic or like difference to show the difference in talent. So
It's going to be fun to see how those qualities sort of lead into their successes and failures as leaders.
100%, 100%. And I'm excited to see just kind of where Talon goes as a faction after this year with Reign of Talon. Um, Obviously, Reign of Talon is kind of, with the name itself, implies that Talon is going to be a big focus, but as well, because we're doing yearly story arcs, it makes you start to wonder where things are going to go, like as an organization, and where things go from here, because we have certain factions like Null Sector where they enter the story and then Ramatra goes, I don't want to deal with Vendetta, I'm leaving. And then he leaves. And then you have other factions like Talon where they seem to stick around a lot more. So it's going to be interesting to see all that play out over probably the next couple years with these story arcs. So
Oh yeah. It's going to be a fun ride, certainly. I mean, I don't even know where everything's going. They just sort of call you in and be like, "Okay, we're running. Here we go. This is what's going on." They don't tell me nothing. They don't even tell me when skins are coming out. So I'm usually just as surprised as everyone else when these things start where they start, and it's only need to know basis. So
yeah,
I'm just as excited as everyone else for where Reign of Talon's going.
it is so fun, and I'm so happy we're doing yearly story arcs finally, because especially in these last couple years, it's been like the lore's been there, but it's been a lot harder to find, and now it's like almost to an overwhelming degree how much we actually get. So I know, like, when we were in those early days of the first season where like every week we had a story drop, like I would be like at my office at work and I would be typing and I'd open up my phone and my friend would go, "There's a Mizuki story," and I would be like, okay. Like, all right, I know what I gotta do tonight when I get home.
No sleep for you.
No, but it was fun. So that's it's a reward in and of itself, I guess. But yeah, so now we can move into my next question, which is kind of something we talked about when you kind of talked about what got you into Overwatch. But who's your favorite character, or who was your favorite character before Emery? It can be gameplay or just
Easy
story.
peasy. It's
Oh yeah,
answer for both. Genji.
Genji.
Genji was my boy. I loved his story arc and a lot of similar beats to Emre's storyline as well in trying to contend with a version of himself from like the Black Watch days and uh, his disfigurement, his relationship with his brother. All that stuff was fascinating to me. And the sort of like Beauty and the Beast thing with Mercy, I really enjoyed.
Mm.
Um, and then him finding enlightenment through Zenyatta's teachings. I just found him to be a really interesting character to explore, and he just looked so cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's a thing that a lot of people say with Genji too. He's and all that stuff does make a lot of sense because Genji as a character, he's got a lot going for him, and I'm really excited to see if they do more with him, especially as we get into more stuff with like Kiriko and Hanzo in the future, and that kind of storyline with Mizuki as well going on in Japan, because that's his home. So I hope we get to see a little bit more with him there. I've made videos talking about that too. It's it's been so much speculation on all sides. So yeah,
Mhm.
we can just jump right into the next one then. Who is your favorite character to record lines for Emery to interact with? And what's your favorite interaction in general?
My favorite to record with is Freya, Olivia
Mm,
Lee Anderson's character, because I've explained it. It's just we understand each other so well in our acting instincts. So it's just I know I'm in great hands with her, and hopefully she knows with me as well when we're performing together. And it's just they're always so fun too, and especially like the sweeter ones where they're just enjoying each other's company. Where in a recent one that came out, where Emre's like, "Well, at least I can make you laugh," and stuff
oh
like that.
yeah.
It's so fun. But my favorite interaction is actually with Domina in the
Oh.
game. The one where he insults her shoes. Because that line, that whole entire banter sequence is very culturally Turkish,
Mm.
but everyone else misunderstands it completely, where they think it's one thing, but in reality, to me, it is a very cultural thing in Turkey where there's a lot of people that buy stuff at the bazaars that are like expensive and flashy or cheap that are counterfeit or um, just gaudy. It's a thing that um, new money Turks do that people find just gaudy or ugh. So when he goes like, "You're insulting me in those shoes," that's like his inner. I've been to the bazaars and I've seen a billion rich ladies like you buying trash off the shelves. You're an embarrassment. And then she, strikes back. We have these witty little back and forth with Domina, where she goes like, "Darling, these are worth 50 of you." I just love her snideness and cruel nature. Oh, she's delicious whenever she speaks. And then Emre goes for the jugular with the most vicious but eloquent takedown. Guess you can't buy good taste. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they were writing bars for us at Blizzard.
Yeah, the Emery's got such good interactions, and like speaking of like Freya and stuff too, one that comes to mind, like my favorite delivery with Freya's is the one that was added last season with Ramatra, where Freya and Ramatra have that back and forth where Ramatra's like, "So you finally found your quarry, and he's not exactly how you thought he'd be." And then she's like, "Well, he's not in his right mind." And Ramatra's like, "Well, my people weren't during the crisis, but you still think they deserve to die. So, like, what does that make of your quarry?" And she just kind of pauses and like when she goes, I don't know. You have like that delivery of that is like so good.
She's a master at that emotional searching uh delivery of lines like that. And I love characters that have those kinds of flaws and ones that are sort of difficult to navigate. It's unique where you can explore that well because it's based on this war that happened in the past, and Omnix being seen as killing machines and what happened to her mother, all these different things. So it's interesting to explore that and through time maybe show that growth in that character too. Because that's a very, serious flaw and theme point for a character to explore and done well in that
Mm-hmm.
way and given that proper care.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. And we've had this kind of storyline kind of spring up before, especially with Overwatch 1 with like Zarya and Torbjorn. They're two examples of this where they kind of evolved over time by kind of like external characters and people like Zarya meeting like Lynx with her comic and everything with searching, kind of opened those doors, and then Bastion with Torbjorn with Bastion, sorry, the other way around. Those two really kind of opening their characters up, and I think I think Emery is gonna kind of open Freya up to a lot of development, and I think a lot of people just kind of need to understand that when we get a hero, sometimes they are flawed and they learn, you know. So
Yeah. Overwatch is the game that's about a better tomorrow. And what is a better representation of a better tomorrow than people becoming better?
exactly, and the interactions that you and Freya's voice actor, both of you guys have recorded, have been such standouts. I've kind of like an eye on things and how the community has reacted, and people love both of you guys and how you guys have really been able to express your characters.
Oh, I have a wish list, trust me, of other characters I want to interact with. I mean, getting to do lines with Matt Mercer as Cassidy, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's a dream come true. I've been a fan of his since the dawn of time. So just getting to perform with him and like seeing his instincts and my instincts and just sort of playing together in that way,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so fun. I want lines with Widowmaker. I want lines with Jetpack Cat. I want lines with Torbjorn. I mean, give me the whole gambit, Blizzard. Come on.
uh, I mean, I'll take all of them. I'll take everything. I
Yeah.
think everything is so great. My number one wish is we somehow get Bastion to be able to speak again. Uh, Last time we got him to
Yeah.
really talk at all was like when Invasion happened in well PVE, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So he's been he's been very not chatty as of late. So I do hope we get to hear stuff with him again one day. But yeah,
Oh,
um,
me too.
yeah. So I guess we can move on to my last like major question, and then the final grand one that I've been hyping up throughout this entire thing. Uh, so how does it feel to be able to represent Turkish culture and be representation for people in the game of Overwatch?
I would say that was the biggest surprise for me because I've been a Turkish character before in a video game and nobody really cared. But this was different. This had a cachet to it, or I guess a pedigree, I can say to it, Overwatch, where when these nationalities are represented, it's always done with such passion and care that I knew it would mean something to someone. But when Emre came out, there was interesting timing with it, where there was legislation being drafted in Turkey to really, really limit video games there. And there was a big movement called Oyunlara Dokunma, which means don't touch my games. It was a hashtag. And people were very, very nervous about this legislation where it would severely limit what games can be played. I think there was like curfews for video games where like you couldn't play any games after a certain time of day, which is wild to think about. But Emre came out at the exact same time this was going on. And he sort of became this adopted movement avatar for fighting against this legislation. And people were just so happy to hear a character say "What's up" in Turkish in a game in America that people played and loved very much. It gave people hope to stand up to this. And being a part of that and getting hundreds upon hundreds of messages from Turkish people saying, I feel seen by this character. I've never seen a Turkish character in a video game that made me feel this way. There have been some, but none of them have ever explored the level of, I guess, Turkish culture that Overwatch did with just some of the lines. Like there's like idioms that he says that are
Mm,
common in Turkey that don't really have a place in the story or the gameplay, but you can say them, and it just made people feel seen when in Turkey especially they felt neglected a lot by gaming as a whole because they don't have Turkish dubs as often, or they don't get the localization that other countries do because the market isn't as big in some respects. Even though it is a multi-million-dollar market, they don't get that same level of care that France does, or Spain does, or Germany does. And to finally have this character after 8 years and it be portrayed by a Turkish person really that they felt were just like them, a gamer who loves the game, it made people feel seen and at home. And for me, just being in the United States, I do feel a disconnection from my roots sometimes. I only get to visit Turkey if I'm lucky once a year, and I go for 3 weeks max and I come back home. And with that comes this feeling of disconnection from my people sometimes. And being Turkish American, being born here in the States, sometimes I always felt that I wasn't Turkish enough, even sometimes, even with the language, even with living there for 7 years. It connected me to people in a way, and I've made now what I think are lifelong friends too in Turkey and around the world. It opened that door for me to feel Turkish enough for
mm.
myself. And that means the world.
I think I think Overwatch Overwatch always does a really good like job at representing cultures across the world, you know? Like with everything with Malga and like the whole Samoan stuff and everything with Yari and Peru. I think Overwatch has done a really good job with it in the past, and I'm happy that we finally got Emery just because, like you said, there isn't really a lot of that Turkish representation, and kind of getting that in game is a really big deal. All of that is to say that I am really just happy that we finally have Emery and we have this voice, because so many, I've seen this for years, where so many fans have wanted this for so long. They've wanted to feel represented, and they finally do. And it's just really, really cool.
No, it truly is. 8 years we waited, and he's finally here, and they're only just gonna pepper him with more and more stuff. We got the highlight intro. We're gonna get the emote. I
Yes!
feel it. I
Yes!
feel it. We're gonna get a emote. Ugh, I mean, I don't know if it's. Uh, I don't know if I could say it might be wrong, but I feel like of the five, he's had such a unique reception where I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just my algorithm talking, but I feel like he's the most popular right now.
I think,
I don't know.
yeah, there's so I've kind of kept my eye on how the communities reacted to everyone, right? And I think all the heroes kind of speak to a different demographic and a different kind of group, you know? But
True.
Emery for sure has kind of been set up as kind of the most important of this batch of heroes. Um, just because of everything, you know, with the hero trailer and Sierra to getting interactions every season so far. Just kind of everything with that, I think, is a big factor in how the community reacts and feels about him. And also, of course, how other heroes interact with their favorite hero. Like, for example, Reaper has the interaction with Emery, and then you get Reaper fans kind of looking in that direction, and then you know everything with Freya, and you have Freya fans looking in that direction, and Emery kind of on his own, even just the name Emery is such a big deal, like for Overwatch. So,
That's true. I mean, I did think though. I mean,
hmm
I'm probably wrong about this. But I'm sure they all have been extremely popular.
hmm
I mean, especially. I mean, you're in the same batch as Jetpack Cat. I mean, when me and Faria saw Jetpack Cat, we are like, okay, get our characters out of the way. Let's see the kitty cat. Let's rock
uh,
and roll with the cat. And then I saw Domina's design, and I'm like, oh my god, I am gonna get dwarfed by this power Dami Mommy. Like, I mean, but everyone came through with keeping the fire for Emre alive, and everyone's reactions to the Sierra animated trailer. And I mean, I see so many people drawing fan art of him every day, and I have a giant folder on my phone of just Emre fan art, and I always try to, if I don't retweet everything just to keep the feed
uh-huh.
from being overwhelmed with Emre art, I do always try to comment and tell everyone like at least one thing I really like about their piece and not just say, awesome job, clap, clap. I want to, put in the effort to just say, hey, I love everything that you're doing. And thank you for loving this character as much as I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like with Emery, he is such a beloved character, and I think all of the characters that came out are definitely beloved. Like Jetpack Cat, like we mentioned, uh, Jetpack Cat is a meme, you know, the meme machine to an extent, and that's kind of gained its own traction in some ways. And then Domina has her fans, Mizuki has his fans, and I think all of the heroes are just they were really well received from character side and everything with that. So it's been really fun to kind of break those down.
Especially Anran. I have a very special place in my heart for Anran because I started my Overwatch journey with Faria. We did our press together. We went to Spotlight together. I drove her and her girlfriend around all of California. I was the designated driving buddy for them when they were staying at their hotel in Irvine, and we really bonded. And just seeing her journey with her character and getting to share my journey with her in that way makes her and her character my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Um, just because she did such an incredible job and loves and lives and breathes this game as I do.
hmm
Um, she's a very, very special person, Faria, and Anran too. Her passion for that character and getting, I mean, Blizzard wanted it too, but getting it just right with the face change as well as just exploring who that character is
hmm
so definitively, I think was really cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like with Anran as well, she really does feel like at least when the first season went live, almost like almost Emery and Anran kind of were two sides of the same coin in terms of like the new recruits for each faction, you know? And
Mhm.
with that, like they both kind of shared the spotlight in their own ways. With Emery, he had the side of like the longtime lore fans and Talon fans, and kind of like the Freya people already really invested in that character. And then with Onrun, you had a character who people had wanted for a long time, at least like a year at that point. The newest recruit for Overwatch at that point as well, alongside Wu Yong, and just everything that that entails in itself, you know, with her comic as well. Like, you two were really the standouts of that first season, and I'm really excited to see where both the characters go going forward. So
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even think I have an interaction with Anran, and
I don't
I
think
want
so.
one
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
If I could pick one character, though, I
Yeah.
really want to interact with only one
Mm-hmm.
that I haven't yet, Ramatra. 100%. That
That
he is the one character and one voice that I am jealous that I can't do that voice because it's
it
so.
is so good.
You could read a phone book in that voice, and it sounds like Shakespeare. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I don't know how that works, but
He'll probably look at Emery and just be like, well, well, well. If it isn't the man I've heard so much about.
if it isn't Freya's quarry, and I'm like, he said my
Yeah.
name.
Oh.
I would love to have Emre like geek out about him a little bit. He's like,
Yeah.
I've read your papers on Omnic rights, and I was impressed.
Well, Emery probably does know about Null Sector, at least to an extent, so I would love to see Emery kind of talk about that, you know, because, well, he has so much to say about King's Row, so.
Yeah, I wonder what he would think about Null Sector now that you mention that. Where, I mean, especially now, because I think Emre from 10 years ago would have a different opinion than Emre now, because now he's forced to see a lot of gray when he was Mr. Black and White
Yeah.
before. So, I would love that. And also like Zenyatta too, like what his take on what Zenyatta's take on Null Sector would be. Ooh, you got the gears spinning in my head.
That's good. That's good. And with all the talk about Ramatra and Omnix and all that, that kind of leads perfectly into my final question, which,
Yeah, the
well,
perfect segue.
yeah. So overall, I just want to say, like, thanks real quick for answering all these. This has been so much fun, but we'll just get to the last one, which is the most important one. This is the one that obviously everyone is here to hear your reaction to, not just me, obviously everyone else. Okay. Um, so, what are your thoughts on the iconic character Kace from the London Calling comics?
Okay, I have to answer this as Emre Saro for a minute. So let me get into character for a second here.
Yes,
So,
yes, of course.
all right, Case Nation, I hear you, I see you, and I will put it all on the line for you. We will get Case into the game if it's the last thing we do. Yeah, that'll help.
Wow.
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, that the nation.
I mean, I have lived in the Emre Nation for far too long. 8 years. We've lived. We have triumphed in the Emre Nation. Why can't the Case Nation triumph as well?
That's what I've been saying. I've been talking with like one of the head mods of like the Emery Nation, or the Emery, you know, people on Reddit, like that community. We've been friends back and forth for a long time, and he's even said he's on my side. You know, he's on the nation side. He's like, Emery Nation stands with the Case Nation, and I mean, like, Case as a character is, he's, what is there to say? He's what we need. He's ugh.
Especially if they'd go the route with him, what they did with Emre, where you have a twist on him, because time has passed since London Calling. What has he been up to, or what is it? What have they been up to? What does what can Case do now? Has he gotten an upgrade of some sort? Has he turned to mysticism? Who knows? We can go in any direction with Case. And that's the beauty of Case, too. You have the personality and but we got to have the cape. We got to have the cape.
It
Whatever
has to
you
be
do with him,
there.
it has to be there. We have to have the cape. and it has to be glorious and flowing and battle damaged. That's all I want.
Uh, yes, no, I a million percent agree. I've obviously made videos talking about him and the many different story routes they could go. And ironically enough, when I made my Case video like a year ago now, or like 8 months ago, before Emery was revealed, one of the ideas I had for him was like, maybe he's a part of the conspiracy and maybe there's a connection there. And like maybe they put him in King's Row to kind of stir up chaos and make people think he's a part of Null Sector, but there was an ulterior motive. And then when we got to Emery now, I looked at that and I was like, they took my idea. This guy has the eye on his chest. Like,
Oh, imagine. And like Case goes through what he goes through in the comic, and then he just goes off on his own. He's sitting at a cafe or something, and then the waiter comes with his check or something, and instead of the bill, there's a little card, a little business card that is on like the check stand there, and it just has the eye on it. Continued. Born.
oh, that
And he
would
gets recruited.
that would be crazy. I think like, and I've talked about him so much. Like you even said, I've said that exact thing before when you said he's kind of a limitless character, right? You can do so many things with him. He is a lot like Emery, where you have a foundation and then you can just take that and run with it, take it in any
Yeah.
direction. And I do hope that eventually we will get at least a mention sometime in the future, even if it's Ramatra spawning in on King's Row and he goes, ugh, I had a disciple who was here once and he's gone now. Just something would be great.
I want them to give me the line though. I'll be like, so, heard from Case?
You and Tracer have that interaction where Emery's like, so have you heard from Case? And Tracer's like, oh, Case. Ugh. Ugh, it would be great.
I mean, I don't see why not, because I know everyone at Blizzard, all they want to do is just make everyone happy. That is their sole directive in just what would be
Of
cool,
course.
what would be fun, and they're just pitching stuff to each other all the time. Um, I talk to a lot of the devs, and
Hmm.
that's mainly their job is to just have a pulse on what's cool and what's fun and try it.
Yeah, no. I do think while talking about Case, like he is a character that I like to look at as an example of just like Omnic fans in general, right? I think Omnics are something obviously they haven't really done a lot of, and Case is just one character. Like I still see Lynx fans from Zarya's comic, and they've been around, I think, longer than Emery because it was for everything before White Dome and Zarya's comic, and then I have some friends who really want like Nameless, who's Ramatra even says is his second closest person ever, aside from Zenyatta, like is Nameless. So that's another character I'd love to like just see in any way, just kind of seen. And Case is just one of these Omnic characters that I really hope we can at least go back to and kind of give a little bit more to, because aside from Maximilian, we don't really have like a current story Omnic, because well, Bastion doesn't really do much, in the narrative. So, and Zenyatta and Ramatra are off in who knows where. So, and we have the mysterious Omnic detective that's on the horizon, but who knows how that'll go. That's definitely not Case though.
Well, I am so excited for the Omnic Detective character from a gameplay standpoint, and just I love the idea of Omnics having traditional human professions
Oh yeah.
and exploring that. And I mean, like a PI is just such a fun thing to do with like a gameplay sort of perspective, where like he can
Hmm.
have like detective skills as his kit, which I think would be really fun.
Yeah. I mean, the Omnic Detective as well is just it's a really good start to hopefully getting back to doing more of these kind of characters. And and I hope that everything is well received with him. And I'm really excited to play. I am planning to main him, so he's gonna be my main.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's at this point, it's like I made a commitment back in Overwatch 1. I was like, every time they release a robot character, I have to main them. And, well, I haven't had to do that in 4 years. So I've kind of been slacking. But yeah. Yeah. Overall, this has been really, really fun. This has been a
Yes.
blast.
As expected, speaking with a fellow lorehead, that it would be nothing but fun. I mean,
It's always fun to just speculate and talk about the lore and talk about the interactions and talk about where we think things might go in the future. Just all of that is one of my favorite things to do with Overwatch, aside from actually playing the game as well. So it's always just really nice to be able to kind of talk and speculate with people. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And we should do it again when more stuff is revealed and we can talk more and just speculate more on the next year of Overwatch and the year after that and the year after that.
Well, I would love to have you back on once we have a better idea of everything going on this year. I think that'd be really fun to hear Emery's perspective on, well, every new Talon member, a new Overwatch member, and new face that's come to the game, and everything with that. And who knows, maybe next year we'll be sitting here and we'll be talking, and I'll be like, well, did you see Case's silhouette at the spotlight?
Yeah. I hope the next time we talk, it would be hopefully after this is my wish list, fingers crossed, Halo collab
Oh,
for Emre.
yeah. Yeah, I want that so bad. You have no idea. Like Emery Master Chief and then Vendetta Arbiter would be amazing. That's my dream right there.
I mean, I already know the print I would make or have made for the Emre Master Chief suit.
Mhm.
Because what I would do, my favorite piece of Halo media outside of the games was the Super Bowl trailer for Halo 3 called Starry Night.
Yeah, yeah.
And there it just has such a cool look and feel to it. And what I would do is I would pose Emre in the exact same pose that Chief is getting up when he has his dream. He wakes up and he puts his helmet back on, and he's just sort of on the ground trying to regain composure on his like he's almost on his knees,
Yeah.
and he looks to his right and he sees the assault rifle in the sand.
Uh
That's the exact frame I would have drawn by the artist,
man.
but with like the Emre look and feel to it. Oh,
That's such a good moment. All the Halo 3 promotional marketing is 10 out of 10. Like that was it was a whole other era. It was amazing.
it was. And uh I mean, to be playing Halo again in Overwatch in this way, with that the April Fool's playlist, as well as I think there's a custom 4v4 Emre versus Emre playlist that's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, there
kick off.
is. Mhm.
So
I think it was
I'm
bugged,
so excited.
so it's finally going to be coming out this season, and obviously it's like a 4v4 Slayer kind of thing, So that's going to be really really fun to kind of see in execution. So, yeah.
Perfect time to drop a skin, Overwatch. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm crossing my fingers with you. Right behind Case, that's my second dream right now is a Halo collab.
I'd want it just to say some of Steve Downs' lines as Emre. Oh my god.
I need Emery to say I need a weapon.
I need the weapon. Yeah, that would be so fun.
Oh,
Or my another one that I would wish for would Freya saying, "Bet you can't stick it," and then I go, "You're on."
oh my gosh.
From the
Man,
Halo 2
yeah.
trailer.
God, that would be so good. There's so many quotable lines from Halo that would be perfect for Emery. But yeah.
I know the person that is in charge of the collab skins at Blizzard, so I hope they listen to this podcast and just go down my wish list. I was actually, oh, this is a fun story that I'll
Mm,
end this on.
yeah.
We went to this party to celebrate the end of season one, where a bunch of the voice actors were invited. I posted these pictures on Instagram where it's the one
Mm.
where there's our names on the stairs, and
Oh
there was
yeah.
an Emre cake where it
Hmm.
was Emre made of cake stone. I took a picture with that. But we celebrated the launch of season 1. They had a fun party, and everyone just got together where the devs and voice actors could just interact and celebrate season 1. And they had these prints for us, and I even got a print where I got all the voice actors to sign it, and I have my own print sitting in my closet. And I was signing it for everyone else, though. And the person that is in charge of all the collabs and making them happen for Overwatch asked for my autograph. So I sign under Emre, like I did for everyone else. But under that, I put every single collab skin I wanted for Emre, my top 5. So it's hanging wherever she has it hanging in her house. Um, she has that where it just says, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. And it's
Oh,
signed.
that is so great. That is something I would do. I that is so awesome.
My 5D chess move with
Yeah,
the Blizzard team there.
it's what you always do.
Hopefully it works out.
Lore fans and the 5D chess moves, it's goes hand in hand. But yeah, so overall, this has been a lot of fun. And I hope that everybody who gets to listen to this gets a better understanding of not only what Emery means to the voice behind Emery, but what he means for the culture around everything with Turkish culture and religion and everything. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all from me. I want to thank our special guest again for coming on. It was an absolute blast.
Thank you for having me, Shroomy Nation.
And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.